Hey everybody, Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Guys, we got a dynamite show tonight for you. I mean, can we see, we got Buddy cooking over, let me see. Yeah, we're having problems. But anyway, the name of the show, this is show 56 and it's called Elon Musk Again. And guys, if you go back into the archive, show 17 was the first show we did Elon Musk, and I tell you, he's a guy worth standing behind. He's a guy that makes things happen, and we're going to show it to you tonight. It's going to be at the end of the show, so I want to give you a heads up. But tonight's show, you know, today is June 30th, and this is show 56. And tonight we're going to start off with a clip. You know, the one thing about solar, and speaking of solar, so far in Brookfield, they've had 78 homes that have inquired about going through the process. And I think, so that means they qualified and everything, and 3 or 4 have already agreed to sign up. So guys, things are happening. You saw, they've already added a couple of people. Look at that solar display. Isn't that nice? I think that was, I wish I had a barn like that, but anyway. So today we're going to show you, the one thing that we always like to do is we like to add validity and we like to add credibility to solar because a lot of people are skeptical. So tonight we're going to show you a clip from Consumer Reports. And when Consumer Reports gets behind something, you know you've got something. And Consumer Reports did this with Dow. Dow is making shingles, solar shingles. And when you look at them, when you see them, I tell you, you won't even know what they are. But this is how the culture is starting to change. People are starting to understand how beneficial solar is. And tonight, we're going to take a road trip. That's right. There's a company. It's called the Solar Energy Industry Association. And guys, I just came on their website. I downloaded some clips, and I tell you, when you see the progress that solar has made, and believe it or not, in the last 18 months, solar has created as much electricity as has been created in the last 30 years. The last 18 months equal everything we did in the last 30 years. So if you're an investor, wise up. All right, so we're going to show you the Solar Energy Industry Association, and then we're going to take you on a road trip. That's right, they start in Massachusetts and they end up in California, and guess where they stop along the way? In Westport, Connecticut. That's right, guys. We're going to show you the chief of the fire department in Westport. They've had solar panels on their roof for 3 years, and they're very happy with it. So we're going to show you that. And then we're going to show you the largest solar site in Tennessee. That's right, even the hillbillies are embracing solar. And guys, I don't mean to make fun of them, but it's true. Everybody is starting to get the idea, hey, this is what it's all about. And then, to take it one step further, we're going to show a clip from the Daily Take, with Tom Hartman. And what Tom Hartman explains is that the solar revolution and with wind, that the new technology is almost going to be equivalent to what the Manhattan Project was back before the war. Guys, when it comes to solar, you ain't seen nothing yet. And when you see the amount of job creators, the amount of jobs that are created with solar and with wind, and we're going to prove once and for all that solar and wind is cheaper than coal, oil, and gas. And you're going to say, well, Rich, if you add the extraneous costs in, then it is cheaper. No, 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 no. Without the extraneous costs. We're going to show you and we're going to confirm it. And the evidence and the proof is going to come from the EDP, which is the electric company of Portugal. And when the electric company of Portugal tells you that it's cheaper to use solar and wind than coal, how can you argue with them? They're the guys that are paying the bills. They understand. So guys, it's a cultural change, and we're going to take a good look at it, and we're going to end up with Solar City and Elon Musk. Elon Musk did it was a beautiful interview done on 60 Minutes. And when you guys see it, and when you see what he went through, and how much money he put up at risk, and how he almost lost it all. And I'm telling you, this is somebody we got to rally around. And when you see what he's done with Tesla Motors and SpaceX and Solar City, you're going to say, yeah, I hear you, Rich. I'm behind you. All right, so the first clip we're going to do, like I said, it's from Consumer Reports, and it's about Dow Chemical, and it's going to show you their solar roofing shingles that are just like the regular shingles everybody's putting up. So, John, hit it.
Protect your roof and get free energy from the sun. That's the promise of Dow's powerhouse solar shingles, the first that integrate seamlessly with asphalt shingles. Outside, they're about the size of an ordinary asphalt shingle, but inside each has thin cells designed to capture sunlight and convert it to DC current that goes to an inverter box. There it becomes the AC current that runs appliances and other electrical devices. The shingles are wireless, snap together, and are designed to work with ordinary asphalt shingles. That means roofers can install them the same way as regular shingles, with a hammer and nails. But you will need an electrician to put in the inverter box. How much can powerhouse shingles save you? According to Dow, a cluster of about 200 to 400 shingles could slash an average home's electricity bill by 40 to 60%, which means you don't have to cover the entire roof. You'll pay about $25,000 for this high-tech bundle, but federal tax credits will slice the price of materials by about 30%. What's more, state and local credits could bring the cost well below $10,000 in some areas. Another plus, these solar shingles and their inverter feed unused power back into the grid for even more savings. All of that can mean that these solar shingles could pay for themselves far sooner than some solar water heaters Consumer Reports has tested. Expect Dow Powerhouse solar shingles to begin arriving at installers sometime later this year. I'm Bob Markovich for Consumer Reports.
Guys, once again, it's for validity. And that's the reason why we're here over and over and over again. You want to get it to the point where people start to say, where are we going to put the solar panels? Like years ago, guys, you built a house, you were frugal if you put in insulation. Now you build a house, you got to have an insulation inspection. It's that simple. Guys, 20 years from now, I'll guarantee you're going to have a solar inspection because we all have to contribute. It's a community process. We're all in this together. So rent out your roof and make some money. All right, now we're going to show you, this is the solar generation, and this is going to be a little introduction to the road trip. So John, hit it.
Welcome to the Solar Generation Road Trip. If you want to know how solar energy is working for America, you have to go out and ask America.
Our energy bills have been reduced 30% by this system.
These panels have been installed for 3 years. They've reduced our energy consumption.
Our electric bill's $2 a month.
Our installer said this is perfect for that.
Solar energy means jobs.
By using solar panels at the zoo, we're reducing our carbon footprint.
Our bread is going to be 100% solar.
We've added electric vehicle charging stations powered by the sun.
From a few panels on a homeowner's roof to large solar plants with enough utility power for a whole town, solar energy is working for America now, saving us money, creating new jobs, and giving our world a brighter future. Welcome to the solar generation. Go to solargenerationusa.org and see how easy it is to go solar now.
Okay, so guys, that was the teaser for the road trip. But before we take the road trip, we want to talk about the Solar Energy Industry Association. And when you see what they're able to do and the jobs that are being created, guys, it's time to get on board. If you know somebody that's looking for work, this is the industry you want to get involved with. I mean, you can have a good living, a good, clean living, with a living wage, with benefits, with insurance, a job, a career you can be proud of. So guys, hint, hint, wink, wink, go down to Raw Solar. And since we've been following Solarized Brookfield, there's already been 2 people hired. So you think about the amount of work that's going to be generated through, we're going to need an army, and that's what we want. Let's get everybody to work, working for the benefit of the community. All right, so let's show the Solar Energy Industry Association. Let's show their clip. John?
After years of ducking the issue, climate change is finally becoming a hot topic in Washington, D.C. What if I told you that there's a smart, proven way to create new American jobs, help the U.S. economy, and protect our environment too? Well, there is. Today, solar is the fastest growing source of renewable energy in America, generating enough clean, reliable, and affordable electricity to power more than 2.2 million homes. And we're just beginning to scratch the surface of solar's enormous potential. Last year, solar created tens of thousands of new American jobs and pumped tens of billions of dollars into the U.S. economy. In fact, in the last 18 months alone, more solar has been installed in the United States than in the 30 previous years combined. That's a remarkable record of achievement. Here's something else that you may not know. As the U.S. solar industry scales up, costs continue to come down. In fact, the average price of PV solar systems have dropped by nearly 60% since 2010, benefiting consumers, businesses, schools, our government, and even the military. Last year, solar accounted for nearly 1/3 of all new electricity that came online nationwide. This makes solar the second largest source of new generating capacity, just behind natural gas, beating out coal, oil, nuclear, and all other forms of energy. We are proud of these accomplishments, but we need your help if solar is going to continue to grow in the years ahead. Critics of clean energy are mobilizing their forces to try and roll back effective public policies such as the solar investment tax credit, net energy metering, and renewable portfolio standards. Please join the Solar Power Advocacy Network. If you already have, then tell a friend, a relative, or a neighbor. Working together, we can create thousands of new jobs, help our economy, ensure future prosperity, and fight climate change. Thank you for caring.
Guys, if you want further information, just go on the website. I mean, they got a lot of dynamite things going on. And, the more you get involved, because up until show 17, I didn't think solar worked. And I didn't think electric cars worked either. But things change, and that's what we're trying to show on the show. All right, now the next clip is going to be the start of the road trip. And they start in Massachusetts. And, the first clip is going to take us through New Jersey. And I tell you, they do such a beautiful job, and they just go into such nice detail. And when you start to see the changes, and you're going to start to embrace the changes, and this is what we want. So, John, hit it.
Hi, welcome to the Solar Generation Road Trip. If you want to know how solar energy is working for America, you have to go out and ask America. So let's go. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be driving across the entire country, checking out just how far solar energy has come.
We had the solar system installed on the roof approximately a year ago. Our energy bills have been reduced approximately 30% by the system.
This is an affordable housing project. 12 families are going to be moving in here. They could even have zero electrical bills.
That's remarkable.
It just is there and it's huge. You know, we call it our lucky roof.
And there is a spot for thermal panels as well, right?
There is.
Chief, tell me about the solar panels that you have here.
These panels have been installed for approximately 3 years, and they've reduced our energy consumption.
We did the solar panels, not for the economic advantage, but our electric bills have gone from $200 a month to $2 a month.
This is one of many buildings in New York City that actually have solar on their roof.
And our installer came and looked at the house and then looked at the barn and said, this is perfect for that.
I'm here at the Crayola factory in Pennsylvania, and I'm standing with Anjan. Anjan, tell me about these solar panels.
The solar panel provides enough energy to produce 1 billion Crayola crayons.
So let's talk here with Brandon, the president of the Pocono Raceway. What is so unique about Pocono Raceway?
Pocono Raceway has the largest solar field of any sports facility anywhere in the world, producing over 3 megawatts of AC power for us on a daily basis.
Take it away, boys. Okay, I think we have gone far enough for our first webisode. I don't know about you, but I am amazed to see how solar energy is being used out here in everyday life in the Northeast. Now, please check in next week. We are going to go see what the solar energy scene is out in the Midwest. But until then, you can win one of our coveted, yet-to-be-designed Solar Generation Road Trip caps. How do you do that? By taking our solar quiz. Now, all you have to do is go online to solargenerationusa.org and answer this week's question. The question is, what are the 4 ways of harnessing the sun's energy? Now, the first 10 correct answers will win a Solar Generation hat. I can't thank you enough for watching, and hope to see you guys soon.
Guys, didn't they do a nice job? I mean, professional, and you know, there's 2 more clips. And, you know, when you start to realize the benefits behind solar, it's almost like it's never ending. And these things keep working. You know, you're looking at 25, 30 years that these panels are still going to perform. So as long as we're on a roll, let's go with the next clip. John?
And welcome back to the Solar Generation Road Trip. We are driving from coast to coast, checking out how solar energy is working for America. After exploring the Northeast, we just kept on going, and now we're here in beautiful Ohio. Let's go find out how solar's working for the Midwest.
So I'm here at the Governor's Mansion with Ron Sylvester. So Ron, what does solar energy mean to Ohio?
Solar energy means a lot to Ohio. It means a lot to Ohio's future. Solar energy means jobs.
We've actually got over 1,000 employees here in Perrysburg, Ohio. And those are all largely new jobs that we've created and brought to the area.
This house is completely solar powered. It has solar photovoltaic panels on the roof that provide all the power the house needs, and solar thermal collectors on the side of the house to generate hot water.
My company's panels will light the bridge behind me.
So So how are the solar panels affecting the polar bears?
Well, by using solar panels to generate electricity at the zoo, we're reducing our carbon footprint, which directly affects the polar bears.
So there you have it, solar bears.
Frankly, in this country, we're far behind. And if we don't save now, we're going to be in trouble later.
Solar energy really works for us here at the River Street Bakery. From our mixers to our refrigeration and the storage that we need, our bread is going to be 100% solar.
Peter, tell me a little bit about the car behind me.
This is NU Solar SC5. It's our 5th generation solar car vehicle using silicon solar technology, lithium-ion batteries, and weighs in at just over 600 pounds.
So Michelle, what does solar energy mean for you and your family?
Solar energy means clean and green energy for my family. It's a great thing we're doing for the environment, and we're proud of it.
So Michael, we're at a gas station with no gas.
Correct. We've added solar PV to this 1920s gas station. We've also added electric vehicle charging stations, which are being powered by the sun.
Michael, this is such an impressive array that you have here. Tell me a little bit about what we have going on in this parking lot.
Well, I think the thing that's really exciting about this is it's not just something that does power generation for the campus, but it's something that serves as a real outdoor classroom for our students.
Okay, I think it's about time we wrap up Webisode 2. Have we proved that solar energy is working for the Midwest? You betcha. Now, before I get back behind the wheel, though, you have another chance of winning our yet-to-be-designed, much-talked-about Solar Generation Road Trip Cap. All you have to do is sign on to solargenerationusa.org and answer this week's Solar Quiz question. This week's question is, to the nearest 1,000, how many people are employed in the U.S. solar energy industry? The first 10 correct answers will win one of our Solar Generation Road Trip caps. Now then, is the West the best when it comes to solar energy? We're gonna go find out. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Guys, I looked up the answer. I Googled the answer. I Googled the answer to the question, and I'm not sure. I mean, the numbers could have changed, but the number that they had for employment, the amount of people employed in the solar industry is 143,000, and there's 6,100 companies involved. I'm sure the number goes up, every day, but it's just another way of having fun. All right, now this is the third part of the third leg of the trip where they end up in California. So John, let's get to that one.
Hi, and welcome back to the Solar Generation Road Trip. We are still driving from coast to coast to see how solar energy is working for America. Today we say goodbye, Midwest, and hello to the Rockies as we head to our final destination of sunny California. Enjoy the ride. I am here at Denver International Airport. Regan, how much energy is this producing?
It's enough to take care of 3,000 homes over the course of a year.
Wow.
I think solar energy is an opportunity to really change how we do business going into the future.
We have 15 acres of panels that add up to 2 megawatts, one of the largest systems on a university campus.
Thomas comes from Germany and is bringing a different perspective to Fort Collins on solar energy.
Solar energy is an incredible success story in Germany. It created already over 300,000 jobs within the last 10 years. You have to get the politicians behind it, and then you can create an enormous success story, much bigger than the one we have in Germany.
Tell me a little bit about the panels that are up here on the roof.
There are 112 solar panels on the roof here.
100% of the energy used at this property comes from either solar or wind.
The homes behind me are single-family production-built homes that come standard with solar. So the homeowner actually gets solar electricity as well as solar hot water.
Solar energy is just taking advantage of what's out there. Nobody's charging you for it. It's a mature technology, especially the solar thermal. Why not use it?
What we've got here is a 180 kW array down on the Reno Event Center. Together, these systems produce 25% of the power on a year-round basis and 100% of the power for our NBA Bighorns.
These dishes are concentrating solar power, enough for a whole town.
This array is almost 1 megawatt of solar generation. We move water from the California aqueduct to the farmers, and we can avoid the expensive utility costs.
Solar energy is the future, and here at AT&T Park with the San Francisco Giants, we're about embracing the future. We're about clean energy, we're about technology, and solar combines those two things.
Well, go Giants.
Go Giants.
This gas station has gone solar. They've installed 90 solar panels up there on the roof, and it's creating enough energy to power 2 to 3 average American homes. It's pretty neat.
It's like the wheel, and solar thermal is that simple and very efficient. I just realized that solar is the answer to most of the Earth's problems.
I'm here in spectacular Napa, California with TJ. TJ, tell me a little bit about the panels behind us.
Annually, we generate 255,000 kilowatts. It's enough energy to make 300,000 bottles of wine. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, we did it. Coast to coast, 4,436.2 glorious miles across 15 states. On our journey, I think that we have proved that solar energy has come a long way too. Solar really is working for America, whether it be just a few panels on a homeowner's roof or a huge array that can power a whole town. Now, that's almost it for the Solar Generation Road Trip. But I have one more major announcement. I am about to unveil the Solar Generation Road Trip hat.
Hey, it's a great hat. Better than most.
Now, as many of you know, you can win one of these wonderful hats by being one of our first 10 people to correctly answer our solar quiz. All you have to do is go on to solargenerationusa.org. This week's question is,
which country manufactures most of the world's silicon?
So thank you, goodbye, good luck, and go solar.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna help you out here again. You know, the answer, they asked the question, which country manufactures the most silicone? Any guesses? The answer's China. But the amount is gonna shock you. China produces 5,400 tons of silicone a year. The next highest producer is Russia with 670 tons. Wow. The United States, we produce only 350. So China produces 5,400 and we produce 350 tons of silicone. Elon, you got a big job ahead of you. All right, now, we didn't show this, all right, now we're gonna show a solar plant in Tennessee. And when you see the amount of jobs it created, and guys, they're gonna be in this solar plant, they're gonna be installing the 2 millionth solar panel produced at this plant in Tennessee. So think, how long does it take to produce a panel? And they made 2 million of them. How much work is that? You know? I mean, think, yeah, and that's in, you know, and most of this stuff is made in Ohio. It's made in the Rust Belt. They're not gonna call it the Rust Belt anymore. They're gonna have to call it the Silicon Belt. All right, so anyway, let's take a look at the next one. This is the largest solar site in Tennessee. John?
I haven't seen this many solar panels in one place, ever, I think.
We've seen smaller scale solar, but to see 4,600 panels in that concentrated area producing that much power was truly exciting.
Tennessee's hit 2 milestones with this project. Number 1, it's the first megawatt in Tennessee. Number 2 is the 2 millionth panel rolled off the line in Sharp, and that'll be installed here at our educational center.
The fact that we're now getting into megawatt scale solar projects is really transformative because it begins to open up the possibility of solar providing a larger percentage of our electric mix across the Tennessee Valley.
SACE is a wonderful organization for solar and all renewable energies because they tap into so much collective expertise in the community. And so by working with companies like EE10, they can help transform, what started as a concept, an idea, and really turn it into the community outreach project that we need to have for solar to really take off.
SACE has been the champion of solar in this area, and renewables, period. But specifically from my point, I don't think that we'd see anything what's going on right now if it hadn't been from SACE early on trying to make this happen.
And in the last few years, we've really been working with utilities to get them to pay incentives and to support programs getting solar onto the grid. The more solar panels that are produced, each individual panel becomes cheaper. And so by having these large-scale projects, you begin to get the economies of scale of production which drive the cost down.
We're driving price down for the manufacturer. We're driving price down for the structure. Our skill level's increasing. So by default, the whole price, the install cost per watt drops. And so the next time, it's easier. It gets cheaper, cheaper, cheaper.
The other thing is the utilities begin to get experience in using solar to help offset some of their peak demand. When the sun is out in the summer and it's very hot, then we want to use solar to provide some of our electricity there so that we don't have to use as much natural gas or coal or other technologies. So I had the good fortune of being asked to put the first solar panel on these 4,600 panels. And then we had TVA executives come out and put the last panel on. What was really ironic about that is that SACE has for years been advocating for clean solar, for working with the Tennessee Valley Authority to import and use these renewable technologies. And this particular facility actually captures the historic development from where SACE is an advocate to where TVA now is deploying megawatt scale projects is very exciting.
Solar is important because it's a renewable, it's clean, and it's limitless.
There's really huge potential for companies and businesses who have the capital and have the commitment to really go wild with solar and start generating not only the energy they need on a daily basis, but help offset the uses from their neighbors in their community.
I don't think that any of us as installers would be anywhere close to where we are had it not been for the efforts over SACE through the years and currently. It's been a great partnership.
The beauty of this particular facility is it's going to provide over 100 homes with clean renewable energy, and we're going to be able to replicate this model that we're seeing develop here all across the state and all across the region of the country and across the world. So this is the beginning of a clean energy revolution as we get these megawatt scale projects online.
All right. Well, I hope the sound came through for you guys because we couldn't hear it here, so. But hey, stuff happens. What are you going to do? All right, now the next clip, guys, this is so important because this is where you start to separate the wheat from the chaff. You know what I mean? This is what separates the men from the boys. This is what closes the argument. Like my father used to say, this is the case closed part of the show. And when you start to understand that solar and wind can replace oil and coal, and Tom Hartman, he's going to do a terrific job. So rather than me try to explain it, we'll let him do the explaining, and then I'll do the follow-up. So John, hit it.
Something interesting is happening in Australia. A new study by the research firm Bloomberg New Energy Finance has found that unsubsidized renewable energy is now cheaper than fossil fuels like coal and gas in Australia. In fact, it's a lot cheaper. Data show that wind farms in Australia, unsubsidized, no subsidies, can produce energy at about $80 per megawatt. Meanwhile, coal plants are producing energy at $143 a megawatt and gas at $116 a megawatt. Unlike the United States, where energy companies can pollute and have the costs from illnesses to environmental degradation picked up by the taxpayers, Australia has a carbon tax, which partially explains why renewables have a price advantage. But the data shows that even without the cost of the carbon tax factored in, wind energy is still 14 cents cheaper than coal and 18 cents cheaper than gas. And this is in a nation, Australia, that relies more heavily on coal than any other industrialized nation in the world. And that coal reliance is going to soon change as companies in Australia are quickly adopting new and cheaper renewable energies. As the study found, banks and lending institutions, here's a clue, in Australia are now less and less likely to finance new coal plants. Why? Because they've become a bad investment. And while Australian wind is cheapest now, by 2020 and maybe sooner, solar power will also be cheaper than coal and gas in Australia. The energy game is rapidly changing in that country. Michael LeBrick, the chief executive of Bloomberg New Energy Finance, noted, "The perception that fossil fuels are cheap and renewables are expensive is now out of date." Well, here's a news flash. That perception has been out of date for a while now, even here in the United States. According to the Energy Information Administration, looking ahead to 2016, natural gas is the cheapest energy in the United States at roughly $66 a megawatt. Coal comes in second at $94 a megawatt. But right behind coal and is renewable wind at $97 a megawatt, which in larger part accounts for why U.S. wind energy production has tripled just since 2000. And unlike in Australia, none of those U.S. prices account for the externalities, the costs associated with fossil fuels like pollution and cancers, asthmas, military protection, global warming. In America, the fossil fuel industry has made sure that those externalities are not paid for by the coal and gas energy producers. Oh, no. They're paid for by you and me. The fossil fuel industry doesn't pay a penny for the cost of a rapidly accelerating and degrading climate, or climate change, or the healthcare costs from exhaust and refinery-driven diseases, and deaths from air, water, and other kinds of pollution. Not to mention the community costs of decreasing property values when a coal plant is put in your backyard. They don't pay a penny toward the cost of our Navy, keeping the oil shipping lanes open, or our soldiers protecting the countries that produce all that oil. All of these externalities that come with fossil fuel production pretty much don't exist with the renewable energy production. And those external costs are not only paid for by not paid for by the fossil fuel industry. They're never even mentioned in the corporate-run news media in America. Research from the Annals of the New York Academy of Sciences concludes that the total cost of these externalities, if paid by the polluters themselves, would raise U.S. fossil fuel prices by as much as $3 a megawatt. And that's an extremely conservative estimate, which puts wind power on parity with coal in the United States. Trend lines are pretty clear here. Buggy whip, meet automobile. Renewables are getting cheaper and fossil fuels are getting more expensive, which is why we as a nation need to throw everything we have at making renewable energies our primary way of powering America into the 21st century. Think of it as a new Manhattan Project, that project to build the nuclear bomb super fast during World War II. We need green energy, local energy, and a 21st century smart grid to handle it all. Over time, the marketplace would do this for us, but with just about every other developed country in the world ahead of us, and our dependence on oil making us more and more tightly bound to Middle Eastern dictators and radicals, To wait and hope that big transnational corporations are going to help birth a new America is both naive and stupid. Instead of depending upon them, we should be recovering from them the cost of those externalities, costs of the sicknesses and the military, the whole thing, with a carbon tax that can be used to build a new energy infrastructure right here in the United States. Let's take a lesson from Australia and the Eurozone, which have both set up carbon taxes to make 19th century energy barons pay for at least some of the damage that they've done. And then let's use the revenue from that carbon tax for a green energy revolution right here in the United States. Considering the threats of disease, climate change, war, only an idiot or a fossil fuel billionaire like Charles or David Koch would want us to bring in more oil with a pipeline or take any other steps to continue America's dependence on dirty and costly 19th century fuels.
Guys, what we have to understand is that wind and solar is no longer the alternate energy. Coal and fossil fuels are the alternate energy. The real energy is what the free market gives us, the wind and the solar. It's that simple. Now, just to give coal and oil the real bada bing, I'm going to read you a report that was written May 22nd, 2014 by Jeff Dembicki, and the title of the article is "A Huge Utility Says Wind Power Now Costs Less Than Fossil Fuels." For decades, we've been told by politicians and fossil fuel companies that clean energy is an expensive luxury incapable of competing with coal, gas, and oil. And if you didn't count the massive health and environmental costs of mining and burning those fossil fuels, that was mostly correct. But over the past few years, the technology has improved. Mass manufacturing has brought costs down, and renewable energy sources like wind became drastically cheaper. So much so that one of Europe's largest utilities recently declared wind to be the most inexpensive energy source of all. It is, and I'm quoting, "It is clear more and more that our product, wind energy, is good." J.O. Manso Neto, head of renewables for Portugal's EDP, told analysts in London, not only because it's green, but because it's more competitive. It's cheaper. EDP calculated that wind was 1/3 cheaper than coal and 20% cheaper than gas. This is remarkable, especially because these figures come from an energy giant that profits from coal, gas, hydro, and renewables. In other words, EDP has no incentive to exaggerate the benefit of renewable energy. That puts EDP directly at odds with organizations like, can you come back to me, John? With organizations like Americans for Prosperity. Our favorites, the Koch-funded Americans for Prosperity, an advocacy group funded in part by the oil billionaire Koch brothers, which is now trying to kill clean energy laws across the U.S. as an energy source, AFP wrote recently to Congress. Wind cannot stand alone. Other more reliable sources of energy, such as natural gas, coal, nuclear and hydro are needed to pick up the slack when the wind does not blow. This means there are very little to no savings from wind production. EDP and the facts tell a completely different story. We see that renewables globally will be the main growth of engine. The main engine of growth. The new energy supply by 2020, Neto told analysts, and within renewables, wind onshore is clearly the leader. He diplomatically explained that for people less educated in the economics of electricity, wind might seem very expensive. But in his opinion, the technology's rapidly falling costs over the recent years settles these things, right? Well, sort of. A surge of renewables in recent years has helped wipe €500 billion off the balance sheets of European utilities invested heavily in coal, nuclear, and gas. But wind and solar and other clean sources only provide 8.5% of the planet's electricity. Still, as Bloomberg New Energy Finance Ethan Zindler said recently, this should earn clean energy the right not to be called alternative anymore. If utilities like EDP are right, after all, the cleaner and cheaper energy is the future. So, John, it's not the alternative anymore. Coal and oil are the alternative. And let's be honest with each other. Coal and oil are solar. It's solar power. It's just a terrible form of solar power. You know, the oil used to be vegetation and old dinosaurs that over millions of years turned into oil. So it took the sun millions of years to grow the vegetation and grow the animals. The solar that we're getting from the sun, we use right away. It doesn't take millions of years. And when we use solar and wind, we're not burning anything. We're not putting CO2 in the air. As I say to all my blogging buddies, any questions? All right, now, let's see, we got time. All right, time's gonna be short, but we're gonna show you a clip now from Elon Musk, one of my heroes, and this is gonna be on Think Big, and he's talking about Tesla and Solar City. And guys, you know what I always say on this show. Put solar panels on your roof and a Tesla in your garage, you won't be fighting for any more oil. Just like Tom Hartman said, we could tell the people in the Middle East, hey guys, keep your oil. We don't care. We don't need it. We got wind and solar. We know how to take care. We're not going to send our kids to go fight for it. We don't have to keep the shipping lanes open. The oil companies, you want to keep the shipping lanes open? Fine. You pay for the aircraft. You pay for the mill. You pay for it. We ain't paying for it no more. I get excited, I'm sorry. But I mean, the crap's got to stop. It's that simple. All right. So the next clip, let's show Elon, who's a lot more sensible than I am at this time. So John, hit it.
The reason I put so much time and effort into creating Tesla was because it has always seemed to me that that transportation will go electric and should go electric, but we have an unpriced externality in the negative effects of gasoline and on the environment, and also in the wars that we fight and national security and that kind of thing. Whenever you have an unpriced externality, you can't quite rely on the market to do the right thing. So in order to have electric vehicles come sooner than they otherwise would, I mean, electric vehicles were always going to be the long-term transportation mechanism, but to make that day come sooner, you have to bridge the gap with innovation. That was the goal with Tesla, is to try to serve as a catalyst to accelerate the day the day of electric vehicles. And I think when all's said and done, I'm hopeful that historians will look back on Tesla and say that Tesla advanced that by at least 10 years, which that would be a huge victory in my mind. And Solar City, of course, is on the energy production side of things, because it doesn't help if we have sustainable consumption of energy, but then that energy isn't produced in a sustainable way. And I feel quite strongly that solar power will be the single largest source of electricity generation by the midpoint of the century. In fact, just a simple extrapolation of the growth of solar power would show that that's obviously going to be the case. And also when you consider that the Earth is almost entirely solar powered today, and that the fact that we're not a frozen ice ball at, say, 4 degrees Kelvin, and it's just due to the sun, and the whole ecosystem is powered by the sun, there's just an itty-bitty amount of energy that we need to do complicated human things. This is a tiny amount of energy, really, compared to what the sun puts on the Earth every day. And we just need to capture a little bit of that and turn it into electricity. So we have to try to accelerate that with innovation. And that's what Solar City is about.
All right, guys, now we're going to show the main clip of the evening. And this is the 60-minute clip where they discuss everything about Elon Musk. And I tell you, the more you find out about him, the more you like it. So what we're going to do is we're going to let the clip run. We're not going to be able to show the whole clip. And then we're going to come back to me when there's about 30 seconds left so that we can get our credits up and give everybody and pay dues to everybody that helps us with the show. So, John, let's roll the last clip and hit it.
Comparing the Tesla Model S to other cars is like comparing an iPhone to a desk phone. It is a technological marvel that scorches the pavement, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. Tesla is another revolutionary idea from the mind of Elon Musk, a 42-year-old Silicon Valley entrepreneur who built an industrial empire from the stuff of little boy dreams, fast cars, and rocket ships. Musk is an idealist who told us he had to start his companies so that man could colonize Mars and save the Earth. His sister says it's like her brother traveled into the future and came back to tell us all about it. So, what is the future like? Apparently, it's fast and smoke-free. The Tesla Model S is powered by 7,000 battery cells linked to an electric motor. No engine, no transmission, no tailpipe. As this company video shows, the dash is dominated by a computer that's constantly connected to the internet. It has a fanatical following. There's a waiting list that Elon Musk is trying to shorten, building 600 Model S's a week in this high-tech plant in Northern California.
I have heard a lot of people describe you.
Okay, good. I mean, hopefully, on balance, hopefully mostly good.
How do you describe yourself?
I usually describe myself as an engineer. That's basically what I've been doing since I was a kid. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future in wondrous new technology, where you see it and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How's that possible?
How is it possible that Elon Musk could launch 2 impossible businesses, SpaceX, a builder of rocket ships, and Tesla, which could be the first successful car company startup in America in 90 years?
How did you figure you were going to start a car company and be successful at it?
Well, I didn't really think Tesla would be successful. I thought we would most likely fail. But I thought that we at least could address the false perception that people had that an electric car had to be ugly and slow and boring like a golf cart.
But you say you didn't expect the company to be successful, then why try?
If something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure.
What's important to Musk is reducing greenhouse gases, which he believes threaten the world. The Tesla will go about 250 miles on a charge, and Musk is building a network of charging stations where the driver pays nothing for a fill-up. He hopes to make the stations largely solar-powered one day.
You can drive for free forever on pure sunlight. That's the message we're trying to convey. So even if like there's a zombie apocalypse and the grid breaks down, you'll still be able to charge your car.
So there's a zombie apocalypse warranty.
Yes, exactly.
And if you're running from zombies, it's good to know the Model S won the highest quality rating in the history of Consumer Reports and has the government's highest safety rating. Musk may be changing the car the way Steve Jobs changed the phone. Like Jobs, he's a perfectionist in the art of engineering. His goal wasn't to show a profit, but to reveal the possibilities. It is a desire to discover that's also behind Musk's other line of vehicles. Only 4 entities have launched a space capsule into orbit and successfully brought it back: the United States, Russia, China, and Elon Musk. This Buck Rogers dream started years ago when he had a nutty idea to fly an experimental greenhouse to Mars, but he couldn't. He discovered that the price of rockets was astronomical. So now he builds his own.
I had so many people try to talk me out of starting a rocket company. It was crazy.
What did they tell you?
One good friend of mine collected a whole series of videos of rockets blowing up and made me watch those. He just didn't want me to lose all my money.
He never did launch that greenhouse, but now Musk is lofting commercial satellites and flying cargo to the space station for NASA at a fraction of the former cost. Musk's fascination with technology dates to his childhood in South Africa.
He just found everything interesting. He wanted to explore everything, knocked his teeth out because he was just falling off stuff. Kimball too, actually.
We spoke with his mother, May, sister Tosca, and brother, Kimball.
He's a guy with unlimited ambition.
Ambition to do what?
Not a typical type of ambition.
Yeah.
It's more like he just needs to be constantly, his mind just needs to be constantly fulfilled. And the problems that he takes on, therefore, need to become more and more complex over time in order to keep him interested.
He was interested in computers early. At the age of 12, he wrote the software for a video game and sold it. Against his parents' wishes, he set his sights on the software capital of the world.
It seemed like the vast majority of such things came from the United States. I also read a lot of comic books, and they all seem to be set in the United States. So it's like, well, this is a good place. This is where I got to go to this place.
He earned degrees in business and physics at the University of Pennsylvania and asked his brother to join him in California.
When we moved to Silicon Valley, we had nothing. So we actually lived in the office, and we would sleep on the floor in the evening and go shower at the YMCA the next morning, and then we would be ready to go before some of our employees would arrive, so they wouldn't think we were actually sleeping in the office.
All right, so it seems like we're awful early again, but John, is that right? 15 seconds?
How long should he keep talking? You got 30 seconds.
About 30 seconds. Okay, so guys, hopefully we learned something tonight. That renewable, sustainable energy is affordable. Say goodbye.
Hey.
Guys, we'll see you next week, and hopefully we'll get right. Have a nice week. And don't forget,
comparing the Tesla Model S to other